Hey, okay, before
Hey,
you. Hi,
you're
girl.
working out.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, good. I just got out and went for a bit of a walk. So, because we're in lockdown here in Sydney, so just we
You're
only get
still
to
in
go
lockdown?
outside a little bit. Yeah, yeah, we've been in lockdown for like 4 months now, three or
Okay,
four
so you had
months.
to go back on lockdown after
Yes,
the
right.
initial lockdown.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you have to wear a mask still when you
Yeah,
go out.
yep, yep. Which sucks because it's really hot today, and I was just like, I can't breathe.
Oh, I'm like that too when it's overly hot, even when it's not. When you're wearing the mask, sometimes you can't breathe, but you know it's necessary. So you're like, okay, I'm just gonna suck it up. But yeah, I still feel kind of panicky sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, it does. That happens to me too. Like I just can't get a deep breath in. What about you? Are you guys in lockdown or what's happening where you are?
well, they opened up California. I think when was that? A few months ago. And we still have most people wear masks, but some don't. And we've been vaccinated, both me and my roommate. And I think we have to have a booster shot. Did you get
Mm.
vaccinated?
I've had one shot, and then yeah, I've got to get the second one, which I think I'm having in a couple weeks. So be good to just get that out of the way, and then hopefully we can, I don't know, try to get back to some kind of normal.
Right? Oh my gosh. I kind of enjoyed the lockdown, but that was just me.
What did you like about it?
Well, I like that other people weren't going out either. Like it wasn't just me that was like, I just want to stay home and just watch TV or what have you. Nobody was going out. And then also the streets were kind of empty. So we would go out and there was really nothing open, but I think Denny's at the time, maybe a grocery store, but just not really open. Everything was kind of a little bit open. You could like go pick things up, but you couldn't, you know,
Yeah, it's like sort of
go in
creepy.
and sit down. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
no,
that. I'm like, no one's out here. I could do whatever. I feel like I own the world. It's like the
yeah,
apocalypse happened and everything's like free and open. And, you're like The Walking Dead, you go to shopping malls and no one's there. And you're like,
yes, yeah,
um,
it
yeah,
totally
it's
feels
funny.
like I was watching a few of your YouTube videos and stuff. It was really nice. It's really interesting to see different things you do and different people you talk to. Do you do acting as well, or?
I was doing acting, yeah, for since I was a theater actress. I started off as, and then I was into regular. You know how it is. I was working like you're working too, and I was just getting work and this and that. But then I kind of walked away from it because of anxiety issues,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's not the kind of business that you could kind of get away with that. You have to be on. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it definitely makes it harder. Like I was watching some of your videos and where you mentioned about having anxiety, panic attacks and stuff like that, and I've had that too, so I know what that's like. It's not
Yeah,
fun.
no, it feels like you're gonna die. By the way, you look fabulous. You look so beautiful.
Oh no, no. I was thinking
You
the same
do.
about you. I was like, oh, I should have put a better light or something because you just look like a babe and I'm just like sweaty.
Usually I just do do them from bed. I'm just like, all right, I'm just sitting here in bed and I'm going to talk about my life. But when I do interviews, I put on some lighting and I'm like, all right, this is my spot that I do interviews at. And
Yeah,
I'll
it
put
looks
makeup
good.
on, you know.
No, it looks good. You look very professional. I'm just like, I was trying to get home as quick as I could, and it's like the hottest day we've had so far coming into spring. So it's like it's 26 degrees, but I don't know what that is in American temperatures. So, but it's hot anyway. And so then I was like trying to walk really fast to get home, and I'm just like sweating, and I'm just sitting here like sweating.
How hot is it in Australia? Australia. Okay, I have a dog scratching at my door. Australia today. I don't know I'm so bad at the time difference. It's
Oh,
83.
I'm so
Um,
glad you worked that out because I was just like I have no idea. Even when I look at those time conversion things, it really confuses me. I'm like, so which part, like, where do I put in my time? And yeah, I don't get it.
I know we were having problems trying to connect because you're a day ahead of me. And so it's
Yeah,
your Thursday and it's my Wednesday. And I know that, we've had this problem before and I've had problems with other friends in Australia. And it's like, oh my God, when are we going to talk? And usually just like, oh, let's just catch each other. But this time we had to actually plan it, and that's harder. It's harder to
Yeah.
do that. So
So
it's
you know,
summertime where you're
oh,
at, right?
yeah, well, a springtime. It's so what is it? Yeah, it's 9th of September, so it's just turned into um starting to get a little bit warmer. Yeah.
So yeah, it gets really hot there, just like it does here in Southern California.
Yeah, it can get pretty hot. But then I don't know, but recently we haven't really felt it yet. I'm waiting for that like summer hit to come. So I can wear like all my cute summer dresses and stuff. Because I get cold super easy. So it has to be like really hot for me to wear like, shorts or something.
I know I used to be that way. I used to get cold super easily. And when I started getting anxiety, I started getting hot really easily because I started getting like these hot flashes, not like menopausal hot flashes, but I'm sure that's what they feel like. But
Mm.
you get that hot flash and you're like, okay, it needs to be cool right now, like that. But it's not, it gets hot here too. It gets in the 90s, right? Like 90 degrees. So 69 Fahrenheit and 21 century. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I've never been to
We'll
Australia.
just go with hot, and that way we'll both know
It's
what
just
we're
hot.
talking about.
Yeah, we're not going to get into it. It's just hot, and it's
Yeah,
spring there,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's hot, and you want to wear your sundresses, and totally get that. I have so many cute little dresses and stuff I like to wear, and when I go out, like I said, I get hot, so I wear as little as possible, and then
yeah.
I wonder why people are looking at me.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's always like that fine line. You're like, I want to be comfortable and look cute, but then I don't want to be like,
Yeah, like yeah, too revealing. Like I double up on
Hmm.
the tank tops, double up on things, but you're like, oh
But I've
yeah,
seen lots of your photos on Instagram. It's super sexy. Like, it looks gorgeous. Just like flaunt it. Go for it.
right? Why not? People we have trolls that are after me, and it's so funny
I
because I'm like,
saw
what's the
that.
problem?
I know. I thought that was so funny too, because it's like, have they not been on the internet? Like, have they not been on Instagram? Like, that's pretty much what it is. Just tits and ass. That's
Right? That's all it is. If you want to show your tits and ass, you do it on Instagram. That's
what
where
you
you
do
do
it.
it. Yeah, and sometimes if
Exactly.
you're brave enough, do it on Facebook because one of my family that that would care is still alive. So I'm like, all right, here's some new pictures I took.
Yeah, see, that's good. I have a funny story. When I was younger and I was like, trying to start out, like trying to do modeling and whatnot. Anyway, I did like I guess it was kind of like a lingerie shoot, kind of, and it wasn't that risque. I think I was like sitting on a chair and I was like in a bra and undies. I didn't think it was that sexy. And then I posted it on Facebook and oh my God, my parents got so mad. And I was like 21 at the time, so I'm not a kid. And they're like, what is this picture? Like, take it down. They like called me, like, oh, Amelia, like, what will people think? Da 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 da. I'm just like, oh my God, like, all right.
I know. See, when you have parents and it's oh my yeah.
I
Yeah, I
know.
remember my dad found when he was still alive and I was a teenager and I just started modeling bikinis and things like that. But there were some that were kind of risque, like showed a little more than he would have liked, like no top,
Mm,
and I was showing just my bare butt,
mm,
and because I've always been comfortable in my skin, but my
that's
dad
good.
found the pictures. There was like there were Polaroids. They took some Polaroids, and my dad found them of me and a friend that I modeled with, and he's like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Oh no, don't worry." And there was no posting on Facebook or anything. It was just Polaroids. I was young, but yeah,
Yeah,
parents get really weird like that.
yeah. I know. I mean, look, and I guess it's nice. I guess that's what you want from your parents. But it was just like funny because like now, like if you look around or like anything, it's just like you know. I mean, I don't have any boobs, so there's like nothing to show. Like, so, but you're lucky you've got like the voluptuousness. I'm just like, if I'm in a bikini, it's like, is that a child?
I envy your body. See, you're the body type that I'm obsessed with. I wanted to, when you have a flat chest, you can wear anything you want. Anything goes. And you can show your nipples and nobody freaks out. It's like
Yeah,
you have that great body where you could just get away with wearing anything you want and you look fabulous. And I can't do that. I have like Selma Hayek's body, except hers is much better. But like that curvy, that kind of
yeah.
like,
I think it's gorgeous. I mean, everyone's body's different, isn't it? But like, I've always been like,
Yeah.
speaking of, I know we both love botched. I'm just like, maybe I should get my boobs done when I'll actually have
Don't.
boobs. But then
Please
I'm so
don't.
scared of surgery, I would never do it.
Yeah, don't do it. You don't need to. Nobody needs fake boobs, really. I mean, and like I said, especially because like Gwen Stefani had her boobs done, and
Did
they
she?
still look great. They still look great. But she
Like
had like, three kids.
from when she was
So
young, or she had them done like after her kids?
I think she had them after her first kid or second kid or something like that. If you look at
Right.
the before and afters, you're like, oh, she's got boobs now. And what I
Mm,
loved about her, but growing up, I always loved Gwen Stefani.
me
But
too.
she used to wear like these little half tops, and she had no boobs whatsoever, but she never wore a bra. And she had
Yeah,
the flat stomach, and she would be like,
she was so
like
cool.
dancing and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, see, I want to be able to do that. And I can't get away with that. I can't. I mean, I've never been able to do it. I look
Yeah, but you've
awkward and
got that
weird.
you've got what I want, which is like just put on like the most simple top and it looks like banging hot. And it's just like, oh my God, look at that woman, you know. So, goes
Right? It's
well.
just, right? I know. It's funny. But yeah, I think that you look great the way you are in botched. I'm obsessed with that too. Yeah.
Yeah, tell
Oh,
me what's your like favorite, I don't know, not I don't want to say character because they're not characters, they're people, but like what's one that like stands out in your mind?
oh my God. I think it was Janice Dickinson when she went. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
She
yeah,
used
yeah,
to be a
yeah.
supermodel in the 70s, and I love her. She just has a really big mouth, and she just tells it like it is, and she's really cool. She was somebody that would probably we would clash. She'd probably say something really mean to me, and I would start crying. But she's had a lot
Did
of
she?
surgeries.
Oh,
She's had
you
a
go.
lot of surgery. I'm sorry.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. You go.
That's okay. So she's like an ex-supermodel that's had like tons of surgeries. And I don't know if you've seen that episode yet, but
I've seen it.
she's like freaking out because I think her lip injection, I don't know what happened, but her face was all jacked up. And the
Didn't she have
doctor's like,
an
yeah, he's
addiction
like,
to painkillers or something? And then after she had her boobs fixed, then she was like overdoing the painkillers or something. I thought,
yeah, that's what it
yeah,
was. He was taking too many painkillers, and then he was like, you need to like chill on the painkillers. And she's like, look at my face. Ooh. And she was freaking out about how bad her, her surgery went. And I was just like, oh my Lord, this is why you don't get surgery because you can't take it back. You know what I
well,
mean?
yeah,
If you were to
exactly.
get
And
bad surgery,
you never know what kind of result you're going to get, even if you go to a good surgeon. Like yeah, it's crazy, but like it seems like so common these days. Like people are doing whatever to their face, but even like young girls who like haven't even aged yet, and I'm just like,
mhm,
what? Like it just blows my mind. Like,
they get injections, they get the Botox and all of that. And they're like, oh, it's preventative. You don't even have wrinkles yet. What are you talking about? It's not going to prevent you
yeah,
from getting wrinkles. It's going to wear off. You're going to just kind of keep doing it forever. And you're never going to have expressions on your face ever. Like they're never
exactly,
going to have expressions.
exactly. And you know what happens is because I've had Botox before, but what happens is if you have it too much, what actually happens is the muscles atrophy. So even while you might not be making wrinkles, it's going to start, everything's going to start to come down because you're not using the muscles. So
Yeah.
ultimately, long term, yeah, okay, you might not have wrinkles, but your face is going to go like, so I've just gone off of it completely. And, I've got heaps of wrinkles, but, I'm an actor.
Good
I need
for
to
you.
have
You need to
expressions.
have wrinkles. Yeah, that's
So,
normal.
yeah,
And you look beautiful. And
yeah.
it's okay to get them done, get that once in a while if you
Once
feel
in a
like,
while,
yeah, like I totally get that. And I would, if I wasn't afraid of needles, I probably would do that too. I'd be like,
sure.
okay, I'm just gonna get a little like something, something. But yeah, needles freak me out. I couldn't even, if I go to the doctor or get a shot or whatever, I can't look at the needle before it happens, even
Oh,
after. I'm like, just don't tell me it's coming. I'm gonna look this way. I'm gonna grab the nearest hand I could get. So yeah, it wouldn't work
yeah,
for
even when
me.
I had my vaccination shot, she's like, "Are you cool with needles?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm, it's fine, just do it." And then afterwards, I get like this, like like anxiety rush. I'm just like,
I know. You're like bite your, yeah. It's so scary. It's that big needle too. So you're like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to see it. Don't show it to me.
mm, mm.
It's scary. But yeah, people get those lip injections now and they're so big. And I'm like, okay, just outline your lips and put some lipstick on. That will do it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think I don't know. But in my view, I'm thinking they're doing it for other women more than they are the men because men don't really care about the big lips, especially if
Mm.
they're like scary looking fake where they don't move really.
Yeah, like the just
Imagine that coming at you if you're a guy. You're just like, can you even open your
yeah, no,
mouth?
like how do I which way do I go?
So I feel like they do it for themselves, maybe, or they want to look like Angelina Jolie. I don't know what it is, but I think it looks ridiculous. And
Yeah, yeah. I think if maybe it's really subtle and leave it at that, I think that's okay. But I think some of them are like they
yeah,
go like
yeah. If you
this
have
and then
really thin lips, and you can
yeah,
see the
like
line right here. You know that little line.
yeah. And then I remember there was like a guy on Botched, I think one of the early seasons, and his lips were massive. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I want to go bigger." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like they're already
Like a
massive."
blow up doll? Like what do you yeah, what's your
Yeah,
goal? What do you want
and then it affects like you can't the way that you eat, the way that you talk,
to
even
talk?
like breathing because they can't seal their mouth because they're too big and then like things dry out and stuff. It's just it's crazy.
Speaking
So
of actors, there was
do
an
you live
actor that
in
did that.
do you live in like say California, so are you quite kind of around where all that stuff
Oh yeah.
I guess is happening? I mean it happens everywhere, but I feel like when you think of LA or whatever, like
Yeah.
that's where you would expect it to happen a lot.
I don't fit in there anymore, to be honest. I mean, I would have to straighten my hair and go dye it blonde, straighten it, get the big lips and all of that.
Mm,
I would have to,
mm.
yeah, I'd probably have to get bigger boobs and I don't think like as a teenager I didn't even fit in then, because I was more petite and curvaceous and I had the big curly hair and most of the girls were, tall, blonde, skinny, fake boobs,
Mm,
playboyish, very cartoonish
mhm.
kind of.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like that image, that almost like that Barbie doll image, just got stuck in women's minds and can't seem to let it go. I mean, even I'm a bit guilty of that. You know, I've dyed my hair blonde and I
it's
put the
beautiful.
man
I
on.
had my hair blonde too. Yeah, I had blonde hair at one point, but it
Mm,
was still curly. It was like I just like I already have gone blonde. I am not going to straighten it for anybody because I don't have the time. Now I think it's easier. You could go places and get a blowout, but it's very expensive, and but yeah, Barbie ruined it for everyone. She messed
yeah,
everyone's lives up. It's all
yeah,
Barbie's fault.
yeah. And did you know Barbie was actually designed by a woman, which I find crazy. I'm just like, what are you
I don't
doing?
know, why would you do that? Like pumps, I heard that was actually I've been hearing conflicting stories about that, about
Mm,
pumps. They're like, oh, woman designed them, and then someone said, no, a man did. I'm like, which is it? And if a woman did it, then she's a sadist. She's like scary and
yeah,
wants to hurt people.
yeah.
I don't know. I think there's always been women that want to do something different and amazing and make the perfect. She probably was trying to make the perfect woman, but it
Well,
just
yeah,
she didn't. Yeah, and I
yeah.
don't think that's the perfect woman. I mean, I
I know.
mean,
It's like perfect to who? Like perfect to a man, or
to who?
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I've started recently, because I like I don't. I mean, I use Instagram a little bit, but honestly, I love YouTube. I'm on YouTube a lot, and I've started just following like a lot more people who are older, and like I've started following this lady. I just love her. It's called like Life Over 60 with Sandra or something,
I think
and
I've
she's
heard of that.
yeah, and she's just the best. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't like, I just want to follow like women who've lived lives and they're like comfortable with themselves and they're not just like trying to be like, bye. And you know what I see? Like every time someone becomes like an influencer, all they end up doing is going, hey guys, buy this skincare. It's really good for you. That's how I got beautiful and you can too. It's just like,
Oh my God. You know what I love about you Australian, but English is anyone with an accent. You could play a California girl better than anyone could play California girl. You get the accent down perfectly. Like you just did that perfectly. And
oh,
it's so funny. Yeah. I always say that. There's what is that new show called? Nine Perfect Strangers.
Oh
I think it's,
yeah, have you been watching it? I'm
yes.
loving it.
Right. And there's two Australians and there's like someone from Ireland. And I mean, everyone's from another country, but they're getting that American accent down perfectly. And I'm
It's
like,
so
oh
good.
man, it
Yeah,
is good.
there's obviously Nicole Kidman she does the accent, and then there's Samira. Is it Samira Weaving, who's Hugo
Yeah, she's
Weaving's daughter?
really
She's
good.
doing the accent, and there's another Aussie in there, Asha Ketty. I think I'm saying that right. I don't
Yeah,
know, but yeah,
there
and
is
it was
the,
so weird because I see her. She's in all this Aussie TV shows, like TV and just always in her like full thick Aussie accent. Like, no, don't go down there, Wally. Get out of the garden. And then she's there doing an American accent. And it was just so weird. I was like, oh, didn't expect that to come out of her.
yeah, I didn't know that. I saw her in there and I was like, I thought she was in Australia because I've seen her in so many other things, Australian things specific. And so I was like, wow, she's kicking ass. Like
Mm,
they
mm.
don't even hire Americans anymore. They're hiring people from other countries because they just do it so much better.
Can't even do your own accent. So it sounds good to me. So
Yeah,
are you still working? Are you still like doing any acting or anything? Or
no, I'm doing screenwriting
mm.
and the acting thing I kind of gave up, as you know. So I modeling here and there, but it has to be like yeah. So I'm working on the screenplay and it's a time travel script. I'm super excited about it. So I've been working on that with somebody I'd really admire and respect, and he's really good at getting just doing the perfect movies and getting them on Netflix. He's really good at that. He's a great director, but he's also a writer. So hopefully that will go through. But as far as acting goes, I definitely would love. I always tell my friends this, my roommates or whatever. I'm like, that is my dream, is to be able to go back into acting. So let's talk about you and your career because I've seen you worked a lot. You also do voice acting, which my roommate does. He's a voice actor.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just try to do a little bit of everything because I only got into acting much later in life, and so like I didn't study it in school or anything like that. Um, so yeah, so I guess I just kind of like I didn't want to limit myself to being like, oh, I'm only doing theater or I'm only doing this. I was just like, okay, I'll just try everything and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky, like I've done quite a few, little local things and a few commercials. I haven't done anything like anyone would know of. But I'm
Okay.
happy with what I've done. It's so much
Yeah.
fun and it's so much better than what I used to do. I used to sit in an office like 9 to 5 and do graphic design, and it just killed me. I'm not made for that life.
No, and you're fabulous and you're doing great. I don't know why you think that you're not. You're like,
Because
oh,
it's
I'm nobody. I'm like, you are somebody. You are successful because you have done commercials. You have done, I mean, your resume looks really good to me. So I don't
I
know.
just feel like because it's been 4 months of just literally
It's
sitting at
over. I know.
home,
You're like, I'm a has been.
like
It's been
nothing.
four
Yeah,
months.
and it feels like how is this ever gonna? You can't imagine it ever picking up again, which I know is probably a
Yeah.
silly thing to think, but it's just really hard to picture it because
Yeah.
this has been the norm for so long.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you feel. You're like, oh my God, so over for me, but it's not. It's just the beginning. You've done so much work and you live in Sydney, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that. So Sydney, I mean, God, there's so much going on there. If you have a good agent and you have so many different roles here. I mean, some of them are
yeah.
shorts, which is great. And you write too, and you direct. Didn't you write a short and direct a
Oh
short?
yeah, I'd love to talk to you about that. I wrote and directed a web series, like a comedy web series called Roller Coaster Testers. So I wrote that in 2018, 2019, and then we started to film it, but then obviously COVID happened. So then we had to kind of sporadically film it when there was like breaks in lockdown, and then we've eventually finished all the filming and now it's into post production. So yeah, it's been a long process as making any sort of film is.
Is it a full length or is it a short?
It's five 15-minute episodes, so it's a web
Oh, cool.
series. So altogether, it's about the length of a short feature film, maybe like 80 minutes. And
Yeah, I
yeah, and
was
that's been
checking that
really
out.
great. Yeah, I'll definitely I'll show you a link to that. But so that's been really great, like to just try something different because I never written before, I never directed before. Because this is Lauren, I sort of like got into acting and I was like, I want to try everything. So then
Yeah.
and I was sick of waiting around for like a part to come to
Mhm.
me. So I'm like, I'll just write
So
myself a part.
that's what I
So that's
started doing.
yeah, yeah. So
You start writing like indie stuff, like dark comedy or dark drama, and yeah, you're like, I'll do it my damn self, and I'll get a crew together, because I started doing that too back in the 2000s, and then it just never worked out, But I did do what you did, but yeah, you just got to get some local people together, like you were saying, that just want to work and also it's good to practice,
yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
write your
really
own
good
stuff.
learning experience. Like I just had a lot more understanding and respect for all sides of making a film.
Yeah,
So I think even if I never write or direct anything again, I think even if just as an actor, it gives me a lot better like a rounded understanding of my place in it. Because I do think sometimes actors can get a little bit like, oh, I'm so important, it's all about me, and it's like, yeah, but no,
yes.
it's not. It's actually not about you at all. The way I heard an actor described, and I think it's actually really good. It's like you're like a meat puppet, like a meat puppet, and they're like, here's the puppet, go do the things I told you to do.
Exactly.
It's
And you're
kind of
still
like that.
young. Like you have so much to learn. You still have so much time
Oh,
to do
yeah.
whatever you want. So that's
Mm,
awesome. I mean, when I was that's when I started writing when I was around your age. I'm not
mm.
that much older than you, but I am,
You
like,
look,
how
I'm not going to ask your age because I think that's rude, but
I know.
you look beautiful, and you
I'm
can
older
still
than
be
you are, though. I'm
whatever
totally older than you. I'm not old enough to be your mama or anything. That's all that
maybe my
matters.
cool older sister, maybe like.
That's funny. So you did The Choice, Get a Life Already. So you had like I used to do that when I was like I said, I haven't worked in a while, but when I was doing that, I had an actual name, but that's how you know that you're doing well because you're like, oh, they gave me a name for my character and I have lines, so
Yeah.
you're successful. To me, that's success.
Oh, that's really sweet. That's really. I mean, yeah, it always kind of blows my mind anytime you go for auditions, you send out self tapes and whatnot, and you hope for the best, and
Yeah.
then every time someone writes back and says, "Oh yeah, I'd like you to play this part," there's always this part of me that's like, "Is that a mistake? Like, did they mean to send me that email? Like, do you know what I mean?"
And there's a lot of letdowns. I remember going on auditions where I would get like called back again and again. And I'm like, oh, I have this in the bag. But you don't, you're like, oh my God, who sniped me? You feel like somebody had like a sniper came in and they're like taking you
Yeah,
out. Yeah. So it's so hard to get your hopes up in that business. So when you do get work, you should be proud of yourself because it's not
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
There's a lot of other people out there that are trying to get that same part.
Yeah, that's true. And I think in a lot of ways, my naivety of the industry has helped a bit because, like I said, I didn't start from a kid learning. I came to it later, and so I think even though sometimes that's a hindrance because there's a lot of things I don't know, sometimes it's a good thing because I
It's a good
haven't,
thing.
yeah, built it up a lot. I can see these little messages coming up on the screen. Sorry, I
And
wasn't sure. Am I meant to answer those or
says, no, what role was the most challenging for you? Yeah. What role was the most challenging for you?
challenging? Um, um, I'd probably say there was one I did earlier in the year before lockdown. I posted a picture of it actually on my Instagram. I had to play this character who's really rough and she smokes and she does drugs and she's like a single mom from a bad area and
I love those
life's just
characters. I
yeah,
love those
yeah, yeah.
characters.
So it's just life's going tough for her. And I was really like honored and flattered when the director asked me to play that role. But I definitely was like, oh shit, like I don't know, like can I get because I feel like from my background and the way I've grown up, I feel like even just my body mannerisms give away that I'm not like that. And so I was like, am I going to be able to pull this off convincingly? Because I don't even smoke, like um so that was challenging, just not so much like the role, but more like getting over my own
Absolutely. Yeah,
things
and you
that
have to
are
watch people that you might think are like that. You know, that's why actors, you always see like those method actors, they're always watching other people so closely, every little thing they do. And it's like,
mm.
what are they looking at, you know? Like I said, I know this is stupid, but what is that guy's name? Jack Gyllenhaal, or how do you
Oh
pronounce
yeah,
it?
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, but for some reason I happened upon this Instagram story, and it was showing him watching his girlfriend's eating. I don't know why, but he would be looking at him like this, like, you know, and I think it was Kristen Dunst, and she was like eating lettuce with her hands, and he was like, and I'm thinking, oh, he's just like trying to figure out, like, he's getting prepared for a role, or he's going to use that later for a
Mm,
role. I don't know,
mm,
because it seems to me like he just there's like picture and picture after picture of him doing that, and I was like, okay, I get what he's doing. Okay, he's an
I have
actor, and
to
he's
do
totally
that.
method.
Yeah, that would be really, yeah, but it's good. I mean, that's true. You can definitely learn things from other people, especially like I think with body mannerisms and stuff. That really helps.
Yeah, especially if you're playing someone that's completely opposite of you. You kind of
Mm,
have to either watch movies of people with, those type of characters, or kind of go for sightseeing, people seeing,
yeah,
go to the beach or wherever, the mall, and just kind of watch people. I used to do that all the time.
yeah, and I think one thing I always think about is like to take the things I think that work, but then try to not do it in a way that's like a
Obvious.
cliche.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can say.
you know, like
Oh yeah, don't overdo it. Yeah,
I'm the rough person, you know,
less is
like
more.
that's just like oh
Yeah, you kind of have to pull back and go, okay, less is more, but I have to do it, but not pull it back a little bit. Yeah, because I've seen people overact so much. I remember there's this really good movie, and it was kind of an indie movie with this really cool director, and the writing was so good, and but the acting was so off, and this one actress was
mm,
going out of her way to show everyone that she was like a porn star, and she's tough, and she'll kick your ass, and this and that. And I'm thinking, okay, she needed to tone it down like a lot, like it would have been perfect because she's a great actress. But yeah,
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 yeah, no,
you could go too hard.
I think it's always that fine line and for me it's like sometimes like on the day you might think you're nailing it, but then you see it back and you're just like, I mean obviously you're more critical to yourself, but like you see it back and you're just like, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah, I know. You're always, I can't watch what I do. Just like if I
Yeah,
do videos of like with talking, I won't probably watch this because I'll start being critical. I'm like, why did I interrupt her right there? Why didn't I just let her talk? Why was I
I
talking
do the
about
same
myself?
thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't interrupt.
So yeah, I have to kind of like check myself, and not watch, not go, okay, I'm not going to watch it, because I do think, like, I talk about things that are embarrassing sometimes, and you have to kind of pull back. So let's talk about more of your work. A Bad Influence. Okay, what part did you play in there? I love movies like that.
Yeah, that was actually that was really cool. That was one of the first, like, I guess, um, major roles I got in a indie film, like a proper feature film. So it was pretty cool. Like I'd really only just started because so just to give you a bit of background, I was working as a graphic designer, really unhappy, decided to quit and become an actor, as you do.
That's
And that
awesome.
was only like maybe, yeah, like one of the reasons why I felt confident to quit that job is because I'd landed this role in this film, and I was like, okay, well maybe that's a sign that like this is something I could do. And so yeah, so the film itself was really great. Hasn't been released yet. It was supposed to be released, but then COVID just messed everything up.
That's
So
everything.
he's still holding on that. But I played the lead female character called Laura, and without going into too much detail of the story, yeah, the whole film takes place around what happens at this evening at their house and some things that go down, and yeah, it was a really cool role. It more focuses on the two main boy characters, but my character is sort of important in that sort of
You're like the
triangle.
girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
I love
movies like that. There's a
yeah.
script I wrote where it all takes place in one little like house but it was, open concept. So everything takes place right there. And yeah, it's an indie movie, and it's hard to sell things like that, but if you could find a friend to do it for you, and like I'm
Well, yeah, it's
so
easier because
hopeful.
of like the less. cost for locations and all that, and it can definitely work,
And it could do really well on, there's so many networks now that pick up movies like that, so there's so many places that you could distribute it. So
There
yeah,
was a movie recently I saw on Netflix. The whole thing, I think it was a French film, and the whole thing took place like this girl in a cryopod, like 90 minutes of this girl in a cryopod, like for space travel.
oh
So
yeah,
I'm like, that could be a film. Anything can.
I know. What does it say? Wasn't the script? Oh yeah, the script that entailed like one continuous screenshot. That's the script. Yeah, it was just one camera, and I had planned it to be kind of one continuous shot.
Oh, that's cool.
Real time kind of thing. Where, yeah, you go from like the beginning and you follow them. That I don't know.
I
Yeah,
love
I
stuff
know
like
they've
that.
done that already. Yeah, I think that movie. What's his name?
1917.
Yeah, I think so.
That one's all, I mean, supposedly all continuous, but yeah.
Those are hard. Those are hard to do, but you could dream. There's so many movies I have in my mind, and it is. That's why I respect you so much for writing that script, because it's not easy. People don't realize how hard it is.
Yeah.
It has to
I
come
think
together so perfectly.
lockdown was good because it gave me more time to do it, and I was really like motivated on the idea. I haven't really had any ideas since. I think anything else, if I tried to write it, I would just kind of be forcing it. So I think I'll just, if something comes up in my mind and it comes up, I'll just see.
Read stories, like read the paper. Well, I don't think people read the paper anymore, do they? The newspaper. I don't really read that. So yeah, I would just go through stories of things that are going on in the world, and you take like one character or whatever. I watch the Discovery Channel and the ID channel. I don't know if you get that.
The which channel?
The ID channel.
No, I don't get that.
It's like a cops. It's cops looking into murders, and the neighbor did it. All of them.
Oh, I wish we got that. No, we don't get that.
You don't get that in Australia? You don't have anything like that?
We have shows like that, but there's not like a whole channel dedicated to that.
It's my favorite channel ever. To get my roommate to watch, she's like, really? Again? Another murder next door? That's what we're watching right now, Murder Next Door.
Oh, I watched that. Does that one with the dad and the family, and is it?
Yeah, it's like
have you watched the end of it yet? I don't want to spoil it.
What is it? I haven't watched the end. What is it called?
Isn't it like the family next door or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, the family next door or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
love
good.
stuff
I mean,
like
it's
that.
bad, but it's good. But yeah.
Fear Thy Neighbor. Oh, that's what we're watching. Yeah, we're watching this series called Fear Thy Neighbor, and it's always the same thing too. There's always a dog involved. There's always some dispute about property, how much property someone has, but for some reason the dog and noise seems to like, I don't know, it's crazy. This one guy had like 35 dogs in his backyard. He wasn't even supposed to live there. He was just dating the girl that lived there. It wasn't even his house, and there was just this huge fight, and the dogs tried to maul the guy next door, and he had to like kill them. I think did he kill them all, or was it just, can't remember. I think there's a few that lived, but they were all on him. What was he supposed to do? They broke through the fence.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't believe we don't have shows like that in Australia.
I mean, I'm sure I could look it up, but yeah, I haven't seen that one myself. But I watch these things and I'm like, oh my God, people are living like these crazy lives. Like my life is so boring. Like I'm glad that's not happening, but
thank God. Yeah.
Like, wow.
Oh my God. Have you tried auditioning for reenacting? On those shows like that are, I see some of the best reenactors ever. I'm like, these people need their own category at the award show season. Like, I don't know why they don't get it.
Like one, I don't really know if you call it a reenactment, because I didn't have to say anything. On like a news channel we have, or it's called A Current Affair, and I had to reenact this woman who'd been abducted and murdered, but it was just kind of like shots of me like walking down the street and getting out of a car and knocking.
I've done that before.
Yeah, it wasn't really like,
I
challenging.
had I had like a neighbor. I reenacted that I was like a neighbor of a hoarder that died, and they like were either so I had to walk by and go, "What is that? What's going on?" Like I just had to be the neighbor that walks by and goes, "God, that's horrible," that kind of stuff. But it's
Mm-hmm.
fun doing that. You get paid, and you don't really have to do that much. You're just, but like I said, they're being really stepping it up, those reenactors, because they sometimes they're bad actors, and me and my roommate will be like, that's not even believable. But sometimes they're so real. I'm like, wow, these are really good actors, and they
Yeah.
need some kind of award for that,
There's
some
this
kind of
show.
category.
Do you know that show Deadly Women? Do you have that?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, so a lot of my friends have been in that show, just playing different characters. So maybe I need to try and get on there.
you should. Yeah, you'll get a part where you're like, some wife that goes on a murder spree or
Yeah,
something,
yeah, that'd be
and
good.
you get noticed. People get noticed.
Mm.
But those shows are fun too for practice. You just, I don't know. I think it's mostly improv. I'm convinced. I think you have to go by basic script, but I think a lot of it's kind of, just this is what happens. This is what they say to each other, supposedly. So that's why it's kind of fun because you could just go freestyle.
Yeah, I always prefer that. I mean, like, obviously I'll learn a script if I have to, but I love it when they're like, just kind of work it out. I'm like, yes.
Yes, I
That's
love
my
that.
favorite.
Oh my gosh. I know. I have the worst time. That's another thing. I had the worst time just memorizing things. I was
Mm,
like, oh my God. And so you have to, I realized that you have to kind of get a recorder on your phone and then have someone else play the other part and just go back and forth so you get used to what they say and what you say next. And, but it's really hard memorizing all those. I see people that have to memorize like so much, especially on those shows, what shows have we been watching? Roger, oh God, they're like crime shows, but they have like a superhero, some sort of superhero, and they have this like long
the monologue
monologue they have to go
about,
through.
about the plan or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, I wonder how long. I mean, I wonder if they were stressed out when they got that script. They're like, oh
Mm,
Lord. Yeah, they're like, oh my God, it's like 5 pages of just monologue. Is that Marvel? Yeah, I think it's like the Marvel
probably
series.
a Marvel show. Yeah,
Yeah, he got
something
me
like
into
that.
those. I used to not watch that kind of stuff, but those are kind of fun. They can be very fun.
Did
So
you watch the new Loki series?
no, they have one.
Yeah, yeah. It's got obviously the Loki dude. I can't remember his name, and then it's got Owen Wilson playing some other guy. I'll get like he has like a character name. I'll probably get like murdered because I didn't remember it. But
Owen
but
Wilson. That's such a weird casting. I
yeah,
mean,
he's good. He's good. But yeah, it's an interesting series.
I
Definitely.
worked with him before. I think
Oh really?
he was the last person I worked with. Yeah,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah.
What was that like?
Um, that's such a long story. He's I think he just got sober, and so I don't know. He's quiet and he's kind of a follower. Like he goes along with if he's working with another actor, he kind of does what he goes along with them. And he does, I don't know. I thought he was going to be different, I think we all put people on
Mm,
a pedestal and we assume they're going to be different than they are.
yeah, yeah,
And he was acting so goofy, he was so nervous, and I didn't know he'd be nervous either. I didn't think he'd be like the nervous type.
yeah,
I thought he would just play the nervous type, but I didn't know he'd
yeah.
actually be but he was kind of nervous. His face was bright red, and we're waiting for the bathroom, and I go, "Oh my God, are you drunk?" I don't know why I said that. He goes, "Yeah, I'm drunk," and he got all like, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I didn't know he was just got sober." But I
Yeah,
got in
yeah,
a
yeah.
fight with the other actor. I'm not going to say his name. I got in a fight with him, and it was just like ridiculous. But he didn't like stand up for me, and he was kind of. But I just thought, you know what? He's just a cool, laid back kind of guy. He's shy, gets nervous,
Mm, mm,
and he's absolutely nothing like I thought he was going to be. Have you had that
yeah.
experience?
I mean, I've never met anyone sort of well known, but even just in my local circle of peers, yeah, definitely there's people who, when you see their Instagram or their show reel, you think, wow, like they've really got their shit together.
Yeah,
And then you meet them in real life, and take after take, they're forgetting lines, they're awkward, and like this, I get it. People forget lines. you know, it happens. But when it's like take after take after take, you're like, mate, come on, like I've learned my parts, you need to learn your parts. And so yeah, just things like that. And then it's frustrating because in the final edit, obviously it's all clipped together, all their best parts, and people go, wow, you such and such are so amazing. And you're like, oh, but like working with them was painful. So I've had experiences like that. And I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I'm sure people work with me and then they're like, Jesus Christ, I never want to work with her again. But like, yeah, that would,
Oh, I know what
like,
you mean.
people who you think are going to be confident or
It's
going
all
to get
about your perception of somebody. Yeah, it's the perception. You're like, okay, this person's going to be so cool. I can't wait to work with them. And then you work with them and you're like, damn, this is bullshit, like
yeah,
so.
yeah. And I think like one of the things I struggle the most with my local Sydney film, you know, people, because it's like small and there's not that much going on here. It can be like, and I know acting in general is competitive, but sometimes it's just so competitive that even on if I'm playing a wife to a husband, even like the guy can be so competitive in the scene, like my acting's better than your acting, and it's like, can't we just do the scene together
Yeah, let's
instead
just
of
do
trying to do
this.
like a competition in the scene? Like,
Yeah,
so
I'm
that
not
kind
trying
of
to take your part, man. I mean, yeah, I get
yeah,
it.
that kind of stuff
But so many
frustrates me.
people like break out in Sydney, though. There's so many people that have come from Sydney, come from
Yeah,
Australia in general. So there's always that chance that you'll get that part that just changes everythking. Can't remember.
yeah. I mean, that would be
Mhm.
amazing. Because I certainly do love this as a job. But I'm also, you know, I'm not unrealistic. You know, like that's like a one in a million kind of thing. So certainly always try my best, but never sort of, I'm never like uh, expecting that, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, you don't go, no one should ever go into that business expecting to be like rich and famous. And
Mm.
to be honest with you, that sounds like a total nightmare to me, like to be famous and to be stalked by the paparazzi and have everyone have
Yeah.
these expectations of you, like I had with Owen, like people have expectations, and
Mm.
um, so yeah, in a way, I think just working consistently or not even consistently, just when you can is just so that's success to me. That would be
Yeah.
more pleasurable, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah, if
And
you
I
happen to
think
get
you're right.
lucky, yeah. If you happen to get lucky or whatever, and I don't know if it's luck or not, I'm not sure, but if you happen to get to that place, then yeah, you don't expect it, but just enjoy what you're doing. It makes it so much
Mm.
better.
Mm. But I think you have a much better grasp and understanding of the whole context of the industry. I think even just because of where you live as well, you're more exposed to it. In Australia, you feel so far away from it all, and most of the opportunities that do come up go to, like, you know, our very small pool of celebrities that they always pull from. So and, you know, good for them, but you know, then it's like such and such's brother and someone's niece and someone's
Oh,
cousin, and so you
nepotism
can't
or
you
yeah,
can't get in there, you know, like you can't, it's
yeah.
really hard.
It's like that here too, though. It really is. It's
Mm.
either you've had to been in the business since you were a child, or you have to know someone, or you have to take a part that nobody else wants just to get
Mm.
your foot in the door, like something that you are a complete opposite of you, which is good. It's like good to put yourself in other people's shoes. But yeah, it's hard here too because of that, because of nepotism, because it's always some famous person's kid or some famous person that was, or some person that was famous back in the day and they're coming back, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But there's a lot of competition, and sometimes it's just like, ugh, I say I don't have the energy. I don't have the same drive that I did when I was younger, and
Mm.
I get nervous. I have like panic attacks and stuff. So I'm like, oh God. But if
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to die without going back and trying again. So do what you got to do now because you don't want to have those regrets, like I have. And then you'll get to a certain age, you're like, oh, forget this. I don't have the energy like I'm saying right now. So
Mm.
it's
Mm.
good that
That's
you're
good
young
advice.
still and you could do that. You could go and just yeah, and so what? 4 months is no big deal. That's
Yeah,
everyone's on hiatus.
yeah, yeah. No,
And
it's
you
good.
also do
It's good
voice
advice.
acting too, right?
Yeah, and is I saw that message before that the is that your partner who's does voice acting, or just a
Yeah, my
friend?
roommate. He's my
Roommate.
friend, my roommate.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've done voice acting. what have I done? Like, I don't know, just random stuff. Like, I did some voice acting for, it's so lame. What was it? It's like this medical product for people who are trying to like strengthen their lungs. And yeah, so that was like random, but I did that. And I've done a few like voice things for like characters. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of been random. Like it's interesting. I never really went looking for it. Just friends that I knew in the industry were like, hey, we need a voice for this, like, you know, it's a small paid job, would you be interested in? Because I never liked my voice, and it was actually interesting, like once I got into acting, because I think I have a bit of a deeper voice for a girl, and then I've actually grown to like it a bit more, so that's been nice, you know.
You have a great voice. You have like a radio voice, what I would like to say, a podcast voice.
Oh yeah, or maybe I should do that.
You should do that. You should start your own little podcast.
You've inspired me with like these interviews. It's really fun. Like I want to do something like that on my YouTube channel. It's just fun, nice way to meet people. And
I didn't know you had it. Isn't that weird? I had no idea. I've been talking to you for a long time. I had no idea that you had a YouTube channel, so I'm going to subscribe to you. But yeah, get your local friends, your local people in the business, and just start talking to them and interviewing them. That would be great for you to do that. But you have a great voice for that.
Oh, maybe I should. Yeah, I never know. Like, yeah, you're good at asking questions and stuff. I've got to work on my interview technique, I think.
I just think free flow. I don't really have a set of questions. Sometimes he does. Oh, I love his voice. Yeah, my roommate has.
Yes, he loved your voice. I heard it briefly at the start. It was very nice.
Watch, he'll come on. But he does all these different voices. His uncle was like a famous voice actor, and yeah, so he was kind of in the business that way. But he takes after him, obviously. But I do freestyle as far as interviews. I don't like all that like conformity, you know, like, oh, you have to do this and you have to say this and you have to ask that. It's like whatever we talk about, we talk about. He was the voice of Tigger, you know, Tigger the bear, or Tigger the tiger. Cool. Sorry, Tigger the bear.
Yeah, my husband has a tattoo of Tigger on his back, actually.
Really? Oh my God! What a coincidence!
Yeah, it's so cute. It's so cute.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. So, anyways, I like the way this goes. You know, like I'm like, okay, there's certain questions I want to ask, but then we'll see what happens. That's the best way to do it.
That's a nice way to do it, I think. Yeah.
He was the voice of.
Oh yes, I know the Gargamel. Yeah, of course. Wow, that's two very different voices as well. That's really, really impressive.
He could do a lot. Come on and do some voices for her.
Yeah, come and do some voices.
Do some voices, and then we'll wrap it up. Come on. Come on, Roger.
It's your moment to shine.
It's your moment to shine. There you go. He calls him Snoopy. Okay, do some voices.
What do you want to hear?
That's
your favorite, isn't it?
I hate that. Wow. Yeah. Do the crazy one, the crazy voice.
Wait, what crazy one are you referring to?
The one that that just creeps me out.
That's the one I just did.
that creeps me out too. That reminds me of like a crazy clown. Like you're like.
Oh, that. Oh, it's almost like a. Oh, she's talking about the cross between the Joker and the Krusty the Clown. Oh, boys and girls!
That's evil.
You can't do it. Oh, I'm like laying down. Sorry. So.
Do the other voice. You're crazy, like.
Oh, you like to do the wind of the southern nut redneck crazy boy? Yeah, we like doing that too. Last time I did something like that, I done got kicked out of the movie theater. And I said, hey, can you shut up and not stop talking to the screen? I was like, no, you want to get out of here now. I said, okay, we'll get out of here. But I don't think I'm going to like it because I think you just got ripped me off. What? Oh, you want me to do the little baby blubber?
Yes.
What? That's one we got to do. We're going to go there like this and go.
That's really good. You're very good. So
that's what we're going to do here.
Do the crazy cycle. Your mama didn't tell you shit. Do that one.
Oh, I go. My mama didn't tell me. Your mama didn't tell you shit.
Yeah, that one. Isn't that crazy?
Your mama didn't tell you shit.
Isn't that the
Yes, he did.
craziest fucking
No,
voice?
she did.
You just hear him in his room, just like talking
Yeah.
to himself. Like,
I'm
Yeah.
in the other room, you know.
When he's
snoring like
showering, he's really active.
Oh my God, that's like
vocally
my
showering.
rehearsal.
He's like
Snippy,
rehearsing.
at least you'll never feel alone because you'll always have someone to talk to in your mind.
I talk to myself all the time.
He
does
answers
not.
himself.
He
Yeah, he'll
does.
talk and I'll answer. He's great. Yeah, it's funny. Like I'll just be sitting on the couch watching TV and I'll be like, who's he talking to?
You're
Oh
like,
yeah, that's
look,
right,
look,
himself.
he's talking to you. I'm not
Is
talking
it-
to anybody. I'm talking to myself. Well, you know, you're not.
Is there anything like any work you've done I could look up or see? Or,
Probably not.
Mm.
I've only done primarily commercials, but I haven't done anything that's what I would refer to as mainstream. Or I mean, I've got a lot of friends who are in the business and coaches and who have helped
It's
me.
because you really have to kind of live there. Like
You got to live there.
you
And
have to live there. That's why I always sometimes on Facebook I'll be like, how are my actress friends getting by? How do
It's
they
been-
afford to pay rent in LA? And because that's the only way. You don't want to commute. It's very tiring unless you're really young. When I was young, I didn't care. I was like, I'm driving down there, but I also lived there. Okay,
the
you're
beauty
kind
is
of-
that you can do this. You can do this from anywhere, your home, where you can set up a mic in your interface.
yeah. He has a studio in the house, so he's got his own little
audio,
studio.
whatnot.
Yeah, it's really good.
But you have to go down there and you have to like audition. Okay, the sound is like,
Yeah, is that doubling up? I can hear
okay,
some-
you're gonna have to get off.
Thank you
Okay,
for
peace out.
the-
Peace out, people.
Peace out.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Have a good interview now. Okay. Okay.
He loves doing the redneck. It's so funny.
Yes, he
because
does it
We'll
very
see you.
well.
Peace out, baby.
he loves
Wow.
that. Like,
Yeah, that was very good. That was very good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
went
where's
to
the-
LA briefly just in March of 2020. Like I was there literally as all COVID lockdown was happening, and so everything was getting cancelled, and you know people didn't want to hang out, and so I had to quickly change my flights and fly home. But yeah, it was so expensive.
I remember that time for it's really
Oh, so
expensive. And
Yeah.
but Sydney, like I said, it's really good to kind of start there and then get something there somehow, and then work your way to LA or what have you. But yeah, you have to live here, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
Oh my God. For like a studio apartment, it's like $3,000 or at the least. And that's in a crappy area. You know, that's in an area where you have to watch, you have to lock your doors, and it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have friends that have bought there, you know, when they were younger, they kind of bought homes there. And so they're like, yeah, I'm set that my place is worth like $1.5 million right now. Or, you know, it's more than that actually.
Why? I mean, other than it being sort of this hub for film making, why is it so expensive? Because I went there and it's not. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
nice, interesting city, but it's not like it's got these beautiful vistas or, you know,
Yeah.
waterfront properties. So I'm trying to work out what it is like.
It didn't used to be that way. Like when I used to live out there off and on throughout my teenage years. I, you know, kind of got out of school young, and I took my GED, and I was like, I'm going to LA as soon as I got my driver's license. So it wasn't expensive back then. And they kind of catered. There's certain areas that catered to people that were like in the business, that had to go on auditions all day, or model or whatever, waitress and model, waitress and act, waitress and write, whatever it was. They kind of catered to that. And I don't know what happened. Like now it's, like I said, I sometimes will ask my friends that are working actors, and I'm like, how do you do it? Yeah, it's out of control. Even where I live, I don't live that far from LA. I really don't. And it's not that big, but the traffic, that's what gets you. You have to go at like those prime hours, those,
Yeah.
you get in those traffic jams, and then you're like, I can't do this. I can't keep doing it, you know?
Yeah,
Then you have
I
to
was
like
only
sit your,
there-
yeah.
Yeah, I was only there for like 2.5 weeks, and even I just noticed like the traffic. I was like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
a lot. You know?
Yeah. It wasn't like that when I was in the business, really. I mean, it was starting to get that way, but no, you can't do that anymore. And that's why I kind of gave up, and I just said, you know what, forget it. Unless I lived there, then I would probably be back in the business, you know, or if they were filming somewhere close, you know, where I was like, okay, I could get there. I could go there. It's cool. But I would have to literally have someone just offer me a part, I couldn't go on auditions all day like they do now. But the good thing is that they have Zoom auditions now a lot. You haven't
Haven't leave the Hollywood scene until you've driven down the 405 at commuter times. Oh yeah. I think I did do one commuter. It was like an evening, like 5 p.m. going home. And I was just like, oh my God. But me and my Uber driver became like really good friends because we had ages to
totally. How could you not? When you're in that traffic, you're like, yeah, he's coming to my wedding or whatever. You already been married, so whatever. But I don't know how people do it. I really don't. If I lived there, I probably would get back in the business. But who could afford to live there? That's the question. Even if I had a lot of money, let's say that I won the lottery or whatever, which I still wouldn't spend my money living in Hollywood or anywhere near them.
It would go so quickly. Like even like Snoopy just said before, like this getting a steak is the price of a mortgage repayment. Like, it's crazy.
I don't know, but it's unbelievable. But yeah, you just got to keep at it. And yeah, if I were you, I would just stick with what you're doing. You're on the right path, and you're liking your life. Like you just said, you didn't like it before, and I knew that. So yeah, you got to love your life, and you got to do what makes you happy. And LA, you know what? If you get here, you get here. Who cares? It really doesn't matter. The people that get here, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I think a lot of it is connections too, but I think that it's knowing someone in LA too. I know a lot of people there. They're like, you can sleep on my couch. I'm like, no, I want my own place,
Yeah.
I don't want to depend on other people. I don't want to or sleep in my car. And there's people, have you seen the Kaczynski? Was that it? Method? Have you seen that show? With
No.
Michael, he's an acting teacher, and what is trying to think. It's on HBO. You get HBO there?
We don't get HBO.
It wasn't.
There's heaps of good shows on there.
But they had a couple, and he put on this acting class, and there was a couple that lived in their van, and the van was parked out front. And I think he accidentally ran into it. They're like, you ran into our home, man. Or I can't remember what happened, but I'm like, I could see that. I could see a lot of people, especially when you're young, you're like, you know what, let's just live in the van. We'll shower at the gym.
An audition and they're like, what's that smell?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah. It's a van smell. Yeah, it would be really hard to be young and wanting to be an actor and being that. And that's why there's so many, like I said, like young actors that have parents that are like famous or, like you were saying, nepotistic situations.
Yeah, like even correct me if I'm wrong, but I even believe like that singer Billie Eilish, like she blew up, but then I found out like her parents are like old Hollywood royalty. So I'm not saying she's not talented, she absolutely is, but it's kind of like, oh well, you had a leg up. Like
not only that, but her brother was the one like writing the music, and he had his own little studio at home. Who has a studio at home? Who could afford that? Her family can. And so and she has that, like, I'm not a fan of her music, and it's just because I don't know what the hell she's saying most of the time. She's whispering, and I'm thinking I could do that too. I could whisper into the mic, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Da, da, da. And I'm thinking, this is how people are making it these days. That's what's going on. Yeah. Oh, with Michael Douglas, Alan Arkin. It's called the Kaczynski Method. You have to see that somehow. I don't know if you could rent it or something.
I can get my hubby's good with the internet. I can get like a VPN or something, so they think I'm in America. But shh, don't tell anyone.
No, right? Yeah, you have to do that because that show's all about acting and the method or whatever. I went to the Lee Strasberg Academy. That's how serious I was about it.
Very cool. What was that like? I've read books about that method.
It was in the Los Angeles location, not the New York one. But yeah, it's a sense memory. Like you have to. Well, we had sessions where we'd just sit there and we'd have to pretend to put our makeup on, like we're really putting it on, or we have to pull out emotion from a situation that we've been in out of nowhere. Like, okay, you need to cry. You need to be very sad. So you have to be like, okay, my dog got run over by a car. Let's try to like sense memory. Like, let's try to feel what that felt like in that moment. So you have to kind of go there. And it was really cool. I mean, it was But yeah, there would be like an hour where we'd just be sitting there brushing our hair and like putting on our lipstick. And I used to have this mole above my lip. I still do, but it's just faded. And so I would kind of dot it in a little bit because it was dark, but it wasn't dark enough. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to have the mole, either I'm going to cover it up or I'm going to rock the mole. So I'd have to, she's like, don't forget your mole. That's what my teacher said. I'm like, oh, yep, dot, you know? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
so, and then we'd have these great sessions where, you know, we'd get to do scenes or monologues that was a big deal. So everybody would, you know, it was great. It was just like the Kaczynski method. That's what it felt like. Watching that show felt like I was like back in, you know,
okay,
back
yeah.
in
I'll
school,
definitely
back in
try and check
school.
that out. It sounds really, really good. I'm just
But
typing
back
it
then,
into
yeah,
Google so
look
I
it up.
remember for later.
You have to listen. Yeah. But back then, like it wasn't, it was so great. I know. It's like, I feel so old right now talking about the good old days.
It's still good days.
It was like a decade ago. No, I was kidding. It was like, seriously, it wasn't that long ago, but yeah, it feels like it's like forever. The last decade, a lot has changed.
Mm.
A lot has changed. The last 15 years, a lot has changed. It's
Do you think a
LA.
lot of that's because of social media? Do you think?
Do you think a lot of it has to do with social media? Yeah, I think absolutely 100%. I think, I don't know if I think people think that you could get roles that way. You know, like, oh, if I have a large social media following, then I'm going to get roles. I don't think that's true necessarily, but I think networking is really important on social media. And so, if there's someone that you have respect for or whatever, try to write to them and say, you know what, I'm a big fan of your work, what have you, and you might not get this, but in case that you do, here's my reel or whatever. You gotta you have to put yourself out there sometimes.
You do,
And
yeah.
you might, it's embarrassing. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I don't want to write to this person. That's so embarrassing. And then you have to remind yourself, like, it's all embarrassing. This is all an embarrassing time. I mean, the social networking, you put yourself out there. I just don't care anymore. And you have to get to that point where you just don't care and that you want to work.
Yeah.
So
I get that. Like, because it's like on the one hand, if I do something, I do want to share it because I want people to see that this is what I do. But at the same time, there's some people, like, because obviously I've got friends in my circle who don't act and they don't know what it's about and all that. So when they see me post stuff, it's like, oh, she's so narcissistic. She's just posting stuff about herself all the time. And it's like,
right.
Yeah, but I am my product. So if I don't show this is my voice, this is how I move, this is what I sound like, these are the characters I can do, like no one's gonna know. So it's
who
hard.
cares what they say? I know it's a little bit of jealousy, I think, as well. I think that your friends are going to say that to you because either they don't understand or it's because they're a little jealous that you're putting yourself out there and doing what you want to do with your life. You're taking control of your life and they're like, oh, I can't do that. I can never do that because they can't do it, but you can. So you have to kind of not be mad at them and kind of go, okay, they're just saying that, but I can't be mad. I have to just do what I'm going to do. And that's the place that I had to get to. It's like, okay, I can't worry about what other people say. It's hard. It's a hard place to be.
Yeah,
but,
it's very, you're very wise. It's good advice. And like on the whole, like generally I'm okay with it. But every now and then there'll just be like someone who just says something and just catches you on a bad day, and you're just like, oh really? Like,
yep.
You know?
Like I have a troll. I have an active troll. I have a troll on the loose, and I feel like I can't do anything. I'm like, really? I can't post a picture of myself in a bathing suit. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm saying I can't. You know what? But I'm being threatened to be kicked off of the troll.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Tell me, but do you know who it is, or is it just a random?
I have an idea of who it is. I did before too, when I almost got kicked off Facebook for totally different things. It was not even. I didn't even do anything, honestly, on Facebook. I was like posting pictures of I think it was a loft that I was fantasizing about moving to in my hometown of Philly. And somebody said that I was spamming them or something. And I don't know. I don't even know. But I got flagged on Facebook. And then all these other things that people do every day, you know, and I was thinking, okay, I know who it is. It's somebody that I just, you know, accepted the friend request. I've known them for a long time. They're horrible. They're a horrible person. That's why we weren't friends before now. And they're still the same person. That's still who they are. And now I don't know. So I knew who that one was. So I said, okay, you're blocked. You're just blocked. And it stopped. All the harassment stopped. All the flagging stopped.
Yeah.
And so this time I kind of did the same thing where I just kind of unfollowed someone. And I don't know yet, because I know that Instagram has threatened me saying, we're going to delete your account. And I already have 8 strikes.
Really?
8 strikes against me because of the one person. That's it. Just one person.
Wow, that's crazy. I haven't had anyone I don't think I've had anyone report my images, but I've got this one guy, I don't know, ages ago I did this really shitty low budget thing with him. He directed it and that was fine, whatever, did it, moved on. But then he wanted to do something else, and he'd seen that in one of my other films I'd done a kissing scene. And so then he was like, oh, so in my film, we'll do a kissing scene. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a director writer, you're saying you're playing the actor now. And he's like, yeah, and we've got this kissing scene. I'm like, sorry, mate, I don't really feel comfortable with that. I don't want to do it. I'm not available. He's like, oh, but you kissed a guy in this film. And I'm like, just because I kissed a guy in one film doesn't mean I'm free reign for open for kisses. Do you know what I mean? So ever since I said
so
no,
funny.
he's been
Trolling you?
He hasn't it's just every now and then he'll put a weird comment, or I might.
It's a troll.
Yeah, and everyone else will say something nice, and he'll just be like, meh, 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 meh. And if I try to block him, he makes another account and follows me again. So I'm just kind of
it's troll. That's a troll. They make an account. They have no followers. They're not following anyone. It's just a random account. A troll. He's trolling you. Oh my God, what is wrong with people?
I know. And it's just if I say I don't want to play the part and I don't want to kiss you, I'm totally welcome to say that.
You should jack up the rates, he said, for those type of roles.
The thing is, you couldn't pay me enough to do that thing. With this person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and especially you're not paying me enough for that. Why would you even? Yeah, I wouldn't do that either when I was back in the day. I would do there's this movie that I was going audition for, and I went to 2 or 3 I think it was 3 callbacks, and they wanted me to get naked, and I was like, oh hell no. They wanted me on camera just naked. And I showed up at the audition. They're like, yeah, just get naked. I'm like, that's not going to happen. No, I don't think so. I don't even know why. And I have no problem with nudity. I really don't. I don't care. I didn't think this type of movie with this type of actor that was the lead, that would be the type of movie that he would be in. So I was like, okay, this guy just wants to see me naked. This is bullshit. Yeah. And so I left and I called up an old actor friend and I was like, oh my God, I was hysterical. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, this is traumatic. He's saying that, oh, we should move in with me and I can mold you into the character. He said some stuff like that. It wasn't just the nudity, but he was kind of pervy on me. That's really and the guy's like, get used to it. He was like, you know what? I had to sleep in the same bed with the director and we had one room. He got a hotel room and it was one room. And I was like, okay, all right. So he's like, suck it up. And then I watched the movie when it came out and I was like, there's a nude scene. She gets out of a pond nude and she puts her clothes on. I'm like, and it was like, oh, I could have done that. I mean, I thought it was yeah, but don't come on. So there's so many creepy guys that write that into their scripts just so they're like, I'm gonna write a nude scene so we can do a casting for nude chicks and no one will suspect this because it's in the script.
Right? That's what it is. Jerking off to that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's we're not dumb.
That's so true. Yeah. How many people?
Did it add to the character? Did it really add to the film? The nude scene?
It didn't. That nude scene was completely useless. Yeah, it was useless. They didn't have to even go there. She could have just been in the pond in her t-shirt and shorts, and they came out like that, wet. They didn't have to go nude. No.
Yeah.
That's what was so weird.
I think you did the right choice.
But that actor went on to do really well, and I'm like, but she was willing to go there, and I don't know what she did besides that as well, just getting naked. I'm like, what did she do for that role? Because she came out of nowhere, no one had ever seen her before, and then she just got naked, and then there you go.
That's all it takes.
But you're right. I have no regrets. I was like, what was I going to have to do for that role? I'm like, I'm not into the casting couch. So by the time I left LA, I was running. I was like, I'm out of here. This is like the road runner, how it's just like this. I was gone. I was like, oh no, oh hell no. Yeah. That's how the business is sometimes. So you have to.
I mean, I haven't had anything like that in Sydney, but again, it's such a small community. There's only 10 main casting directors, so I don't think they'd get away with it.
Oh God, no. Mm-mm. Kind of like San Diego. When I lived in San Diego, I went to this performing arts high school, and I got so much work there, and it was because the networking, the group was so small, and even though it's a part of California, but it's like 3 hours away from 2 hours, maybe 2 hours away from LA or 3 hours. But I felt like I got more work there than I did in LA. I don't know. And I think it's because of that reason, because it was such a small group of people networking.
Yeah.
But people that were there were in San Diego and went on to, be famous. A few people went on to become really big. And I just kind of said, you know what? I don't really want to be famous. Like there's people like that, like me, that are just like, I do it because I love it. I love acting. But do I want to be famous? Do I want to? No, not really. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it seems quite scary, to be honest. Like you were saying before, like all these people judging you, expecting things from you, nosing into your private life. I mean, I'm sure there's fun things about it, but it also seems like you have to give up a lot as well.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to find a good little. If you go into it thinking I'm going to be famous, that's what you want, then then you're going to be in that place. But I've seen people talking crap about people on Instagram or what have you, and they're like, "Oh, this woman, she's the actress, was so rude to this interviewer." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, she was getting out of the gym, and he stuck the camera in her face. Like I would have been rude too,
I know.
Like I didn't think less of her. I was like, I would have punched him in the face. That's just me, like."
Or need him in the balls, but that's just me.
I need him in the balls, right? Like sometimes people annoy you and you get in a bad mood. It doesn't mean you're difficult or what have you. But yeah, people get a bad rap for kind of saying, get out of my face. Just like, remember Sean Penn was trying to defend him and his family, and I think he punched a photographer, and they're like, oh, he's a bad boy. He's, it's like, no, he's trying to defend his family, you assholes,
Yeah,
you're all up in his business.
I didn't see that, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, but I didn't think less of him. I thought, you know what, I probably would have done the same freaking thing. I think he grabbed their camera and threw it. I don't know what he did.
Good.
I would freak out. I would have like a panic attack. They'd all be around me, and I'd be like, all right, you guys need to back the fuck up.
I know.
Back up. Yeah.
Like, I'm just getting a sandwich. Like, chill. There's nothing happening.
Nothing's going on here. And yes, he's my co-star, but we're not dating. We're not sleeping together. They always think that too. They're like, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so we're seen eating together. It's like, oh, God. I had so many guy friends when I was in that business because, it was so easy just to hang out with the guys. And, so I can imagine the stories that would have been written, like, oh, she was seen with this guy and, they're co-stars and they're sleeping together and he's married and she has a boyfriend. And that's what they do. That's the kind of shit they do.
Yeah, I feel like it's really intense. Like, and especially in that Hollywood thing, they just cling on to anything. It's just like, I don't know. I don't read that stuff. I don't buy those magazines.
Me neither.
It's just like extra noise in your head. You're like, I don't need that.
I don't really care about celebrities and what they do. I like to see their work and I don't want to know their private life. And then when I do see their private life, it ruins it for me when they act. And so I'm like, oh man, now I don't even like this actor anymore. Now I know too much, like, that's how I feel too. Like, it's too much, and they'll like, get into their phones, hack into their phones and get news of them. And like, okay, now it's just going too freaking far.
Yeah, I know. I saw like I know a lot of actresses have had nudes leaked, but when like Jennifer Lawrence had ones leaked, and it was just like, whoa, like those were pretty hardcore, babe. Like,
I've never seen them, but I saw. Who should I see? Who's that big-breasted girl? She gets away with it. I don't know how, because I couldn't get away with my having breast in that business that got in my way. You know the one that was in Waitress. There were two waitresses and
I think I know who you're talking about.
Kate Denning. Is that it?
Voice. Is that?
Yeah. Is it Kate Denning?
I don't know her name, but I think
something
I know
the two broke waitresses, something like that. But yeah, hers were leaked, and I remember a guy friend of mine sent me the pictures. He's like, "Oh, look, man, I've always wanted to see her tits," and I'm like, "Oh, I was like, oh my God, she's like fully freaking naked right now. I don't think she's spread open, thank God. Thank God she didn't go there. But
Mm.
I was just like, okay, she's not even getting paid for it. Like, if you're gonna go
Yeah, if you
naked,
want to
just,
see my tits, pay up.
yeah, right? Like on Instagram, I'll show a little bit, but I'm not gonna show it all. I'm not gonna do that. You're gonna have to pay for it, you know? And even
Yeah,
then,
like
I'm very
that's
like,
the one power we have in this shitty world for women is that we can utilize our body to be like, okay, you want to see this? Give me some freaking cash, mate. Like, that's
right?
like the only power we have. Like,
Right? And if you do it, you're like, oh, you're a whore. It's like, you do it.
it's like,
You're
no,
at
you
the
just didn't
beach.
want to pay for it.
Yeah, you're just pissed off because yeah, you can't afford it or what have you. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
we're always gonna be called names no matter what. So who cares?
It's the
You
life
know,
of a woman. Yeah,
the life of a woman. We get it. We have it bad. They have. Did you see that they banned abortions up to a certain month in Texas? I was like, what the?
What is happening with that? My
I don't know. I
God.
feel like we're just back in time. Like we're going back and. Oh my God. And they're going to do it in Florida, I heard too now. And I'm thinking, let's just let
I
go
feel
of
like it
Texas
just
and
came out
Florida.
of the blue. Like, don't they have to have like a community vote for that? Or
I thought that what Roger tell her, isn't it supposed to be illegal for them to do that, to cut off your rights like that? He told me that, and I'm thinking, then why are they allowed to do it? If it's illegal, um, they reversed Roe versus Wayne. I don't really know why. Roger, can you talk about it?
Hello.
hi.
Basically, what they did. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Basically, what they did was they outlawed abortions past 6 weeks, which makes no sense because, as I forget who said it the other day, most women don't know they're pregnant until it's 8 to 10 weeks later, even 12 weeks before they realize they're pregnant. But what they can't do is they can't outlaw that at any time because the federal law in the U.S. Supersedes any state laws. So their law that they just signed into law, which is actually unconstitutional, is not legal and binding and will be stricken down. I guarantee it by the Supreme Court.
You think so?
And you want to know why they did that law? Because the Texas government is primarily run by conservative Christian assholes who really don't give a shit about anyone else but their own damn needs. And forgive me, I'm a little bit heated when it comes to shit like this because I want to see all these people in politics need to just basically go suck a bag of dicks and fuck off.
Sorry.
Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But you have the wrong people running. You have the wrong people in power running this country. Freedom of religion and expression and all that means you have the right to practice how you believe. It doesn't mean you have the right to inflict your shit on other people. Period.
Especially, we're not supposed to mix government and religion.
Oh, yeah, religion. Yeah.
Separation of, yeah.
I apologize for my language. So.
No, I appreciate you being passionate about it. It's
I think we need to do a Bugs Bunny and just saw off Florida, let that float out to sea, and Texas. We just need to give that back to Mexico.
Mexico, yeah. We need to saw off. Yeah, bye Florida, and just go off on your own. You have your own little island. You can do whatever the hell you want. It's so funny because anytime anything bad happens in our country, like something horrible happens, we're like, oh, it's probably Florida, and then or Texas.
And you can always bet it's a Republican.
Yeah, it's Republican. It's totally Republican.
I've seen like a meme that's like a Florida man, did something, and it's just like,
always. Always a Florida man.
Yeah.
I like Texas. It's unfortunate that we thought we turned it blue. We're like, oh yeah, we've gone blue now, but no, it's
never blue.
Yeah, it's gone. I thought we were close, but no, they're bad news. Southern states usually are for some. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I don't know a lot about American politics, so I'm kind of gauging what you're talking about. But
yeah, we're not going to talk about it. We're dropping it.
Yeah.
We're dropping it.
Yeah, the abortion thing is definitely.
But let me just tell you that I'll be hanging out with you. We'll be, drinking pina coladas, whatever. Because if that freak, gets back into office, I am so out of here. Me and Roger, we're out of here. We're going somewhere far away.
Though, right? Like, it's not like constitutional or whatever. Like, can't they only serve a certain amount of time and then they're out?
4 years, so he could serve another 4 years if
He can serve another 4 years. You can
Even
actually,
though
as
he
president,
competes twice.
you're allowed to. You can only be elected 2 terms, or serve out up to 10 years. For example,
Yeah,
if
nice.
the president dies, the VP takes over. Let's say there's only 2 years left in that term. He can still run for 2 additional terms, so he can be a president for 10 years.
Right.
But he
I mean,
also
I'm not
wants to
saying he
be a
wants to stay.
dictator. He also wants to be an evil dictator, and so he could just stay and say, "I'm not leaving," like he tried to do the last time. He
Well,
could
yeah,
just say,
that's so
I only
scary.
have 4 words. Why won't you die?
right? I
He's
mean,
gonna be getting there, right? How old is he?
how
It's like
old is he?
74.
He eats McDonald's all day, every day. You would think, you know, at
Yeah,
his
I know.
age.
He's got a heart attacks coming his
He's
way.
84, I think. He's not that much younger than
Or
Biden. And so
75.
people are
I
like,
don't know.
"Oh, Biden's so old." Well, so is Trump. He's old too,
Mm,
and he's
mm.
evil and he's stupid, and
Yeah,
whatever.
one's a dumbass and the other one's not. Can you guess
Yeah.
which one?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
still shocks me, yeah, that person that he got in, but you know,
He
I
cheated.
guess
He
it's
cheated.
reflective of people's values. So
Well, I think the country's separated for sure, and there's so many people I don't get along with now that I used to get along with, and it's horrible. So yeah, I might be moving to Australia, and Roger too.
come on down.
It's like a better version of our country. It's like
Yeah.
ours,
Yeah,
but
come on
better.
down.
I think what pissed Trump off was the fact that he said the election was rigged, and all I could think of was like, yeah, it was, and you still lost it.
And he still lost. Yeah,
You rigged it to lose.
he did. He was trying to destroy the postal service and all of this other stuff. So he was trying to say it was rigged before it even happened. So we knew that when he always says that, he says stuff before it happens, so we know that he planned it. So he knew it was going to happen this way.
He
So he
projects a
planned
lot.
to kind of fight it. He planned to act like it was stolen from him. Reverse psychology. He was trying to reverse psychology, but he doesn't know how to do it right.
He's the biggest dumbass in history.
I
He
know.
really
that's
is the
why,
worst
like,
president.
I just, in terms of what's the word? Like just ability, skill, knowledge, experience. I would have thought it would have been a no-brainer. Okay, this person's not equipped for this role. But
Right.
I think everyone just got won over by the showmanship and the excitement, and you know, it's like
He was entertaining. He made people laugh.
yeah.
That's
That's
it.
just
I
goes
don't
to
can't
show
think
you
of any
how-
other way.
Just goes to show you how stupid Americans can be.
And there was nothing
Thank
written
you.
out. There was no constitution written out to prevent things like this from happening. You know, there was nothing like you have to show your taxes first, or you can't come in, or you have to have taken IQ test, you have to have served in government. Like there was none of that to be president in order. It's so weird
Which
to
is
me, right?
crazy. Like you think that would be a given.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I don't know a lot about politics. Even here in Australia, I don't know a lot about it. But I mean,
The only
think
requirements you need to be president is you have to be at least 35 years old, and you have to be a natural citizen born on U.S. soil. Period.
That's
That's it. Any schmuck can be president if you got the money to do it and the backing.
Mm.
Welcome to America.
it's like a Nazi movie. It's like scary.
It's like
All right,
it's like a circus.
Yeah. So it's almost time for you to have dinner probably, and it's
Yeah,
our time to snack. So we're gonna let you go. I've had so much fun with you. I could talk to you for hours. We have to do this again.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
No,
So we
thanks
talked
very
about
much.
so many different things.
Yeah,
Appreciate you taking your time.
No,
Maybe
it's
next-
lovely.
Maybe if you send me some of your clips of you, maybe I could put them into this this show. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
So you
sure.
could
And
show off
I
what
was
you got.
actually wondering if you want, like, I could post this video on my YouTube as well, and
Yes.
then direct them to you, or whatever
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. And then I'll do that on mine as well. And then I'll give them a link to maybe your profile too. I don't know if you want to post
Well,
this on your
I'll
profile.
give you the
you can do
link.
that.
I'll give you the link to give to her that you can post on whatever site you'd like, and it'll basically, because it doesn't make sense to post it twice.
I hope your family doesn't get upset that I've cussed and and what have you said
Oh,
bad
that would
words.
be me. That would be me. I apologize to the public.
No,
if
I did
decided
too.
anything.
Or my family won't watch it, so.
Okay, good. I've said some very naughty things. I've been
sure
very
have.
naughty.
Maybe like.
Well, I sure have, but that was just because I didn't know in my own right mind. Oh
I'm like, this is
Oh
what I
my
have to
God.
listen to all day.
my God. This guy's
I'm
crazy.
always like, please stop. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm like, oh no, please don't. But sometimes
need to
he's
get
so funny
away,
that
just come down to Sydney.
Yeah.
Come on down. Your chance to be a big hero is over.
Oh my God.
All
Okay.
right, I better go,
All right, we'll
guys.
let you
But
go.
thank you.
But God, this is so much fun. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
And
No worries.
all you have to do is
You've
just
been
say
awesome.
leave room. Yeah, you've been so awesome. All right, I'll talk to you outside of this. All right.